Okay, we are going to work through the assembly of a Hans Rudolph two-way non-rebreathing valve. This is the type of breathing valve that would allow you to attach a gas collection hose for the measurement of VO2. So this is the end product that we're looking for here, a relatively modern version that has the saliva trap. Can be configured for collection on the right side or on the left side. The current replacement cost of this unit is about $400 US, and this is in 2019. So let's have a look at the pieces. We train our lab staff to dry and clean the pieces and lay them out in this particular sequence, and the reason that we do that is twofold. One is that you can see at a glance whether one of the 11 pieces is missing because you get to know the pattern. The other advantage is that when you come to assemble the valve that we're going to go through over the next few minutes, you work starting closest to your body, proximal, and build distally out. So it's ordered in the sequence that you want to follow for assembly. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to start with the assembly of the two valves, which are most proximal to you here. They have two components, a hard plastic ring and a soft rubber valve element. If you take a close look at the plastic ring, you can see on the flanged side here there's a little notch, and we want to get the soft rubber valve all the way around and seated all the way down in that notch. So I sort of use my thumb and index finger and work around. You can see the valve is turning around, and I'm just slowly, gently working that valve down into that seated groove, and you can have a look all the way around and see that there's no areas where the valve hasn't been completely seated like that. Okay, the valves are soft rubber; they can tear, so you got to be kind of gentle with those. We're gonna do the exact same with the other valve. Get it seated also all the way around in its little groove next to the flange. And again, just have a quick visual all the way around that we're seated and not bunched up anywhere. Okay, next we're going to grab our expiratory port. It looks like an ice cream cone. I often joke that it's your ice cream cone. Don't put it down. You don't want to put your ice cream down. You're going to take one of your assembled valves, and it's going to allow air out. This is the expiratory port, clear port. It's going to attach to the clear gas collection hose. So we want the valve to allow air to flow out. So it goes in that direction there. Keeping that ice cream cone in your hand, we're going to take our valve body, which is the biggest single element that's got ports on four sides. Only one of those ports is going to fit the expiratory side, so you should be able to tell visually. If not, there's actually arrows marked on the body telling you that that's the expiratory port. Just be careful starting these threads. They are pretty thin plastic threads, and you can cross-thread it. When it starts to become tight, like that, I just want 2 fingers on the expiratory port, 2 fingers on the body, and just tightening like that. That's as tight as it needs to be. You do not need a full grip and crank it down. You can and will crack these pieces if you do that. Keeping our ice cream cone in our hand, we're going to take our second assembled valve, and it's going to point in the same direction as the first one. So that will, if you look at the body here, allow air into the valve body, into the lungs, and then on expiration will disallow air in that direction, but will allow air in the expiratory direction. To cap that off, we need our inspiratory port, which is this one here, which is the only piece that will actually fit that. So we're going to gently start that. Again, 2 fingers, 2 fingers. That's as tight as it needs to be, just like that. At this point, we can decide whether we want the gas collection to take place on the right-hand side or on the left-hand side, simply by orienting the valve in the direction of your choice. We're setting up today for collection along the right-hand side, so I'm going to take my saliva trap, and I'm going to apply that to this port down here. That basically establishes this as a right side collection valve setup, and this little black plug is really just going in the top here. Now if I wanted it to set it up for the left side, I would simply flip the unit over and swap the position of that black plug and the saliva trap. I only have 2 pieces remaining. I have the stem for my mouthpiece and my snorkel-like mouthpiece there. There's only 1 port remaining on the body, so I'm going to go and thread that on. Okay, just like that. In order to get this soft rubber mouthpiece on that plastic stem, when they're dry, they don't really move that well together, so I have a little vessel of water here, and I'm just going to dip my fingers in the water. And I'm going to put it along the outside of the stem. I don't want to get any water inside the valve. I want to keep that nice and dry. And then I can, once that's a little bit wet, it slides right on there. And sliding it all the way down so it's seated all the way down around the edge of the stem there. And one final check to make sure that the blocks are sort of lined up with the axis of the valve so that when it goes in the person's mouth it's as comfortable as it can reasonably be. Doing all this with a fresh set of gloves. I haven't been using these gloves to clean anything. I'm keeping in mind this is going in somebody's mouth. I always imagine it's going in my mouth, so I'm trying to, not contaminate it in any way.